Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to see how much I can sew in 24 hours. I got the idea from other videos here on YouTube. I think Sydney Graham was the last one I saw. Sewing for 24 hours and seeing how much she got done. Now I'm doing this more out of curiosity than to reach a certain goal, because I'm just honestly very curious to see how much I could get finished. And I do have quite a few projects lying around. So yeah, I wanted to give it a shot. I'm definitely not going to do a lot of hours after each other. I'm probably going to do it in like 3 to 4 hour or even less maybe. I'm just going to keep a timer on my phone and track how many hours I've sewn in total and see how long it takes me. And I'm thinking it'll probably take me a week, maybe more, just because I do have a full-time job. It's the weekend now, but in the evenings after my work I won't be sewing for too long anyway. So yeah, but I'm very curious to see how it goes. I have done sewing marathons in the past, but that was more because I needed to finish a project, and that was just sewing a whole day into the night, because otherwise I wouldn't have the piece of clothing I wanted for the next day or something, which I would not advise, but honestly it has happened a lot to me. So yeah, I have a few patterns ready that I want to make. I have the ruby vest pattern, I have different types of fabric that I want to use, so I want to make multiple actually, so I might be trying out the different versions of the ruby vest as well. I would love to make a rue coat, although I'm not sure if I'll be able to make that in this video. I bought yarn, I bought fabric on discount in a local fabric store here that I love going to. I had gotten really lucky because I had seen this fabric in store already a few times and thought that would be lovely, but I couldn't like convince myself to get it. And I do still need a few materials to actually be able to make it completely, but we'll see. So yeah, definitely a few vests. Depending on what I have in my fabric stash, I'll try to make a few more items, but we'll see. I am going to get started on sewing right away, but I might not film everything just because I have some friends coming over for a kind of craft afternoon, so it just kind of depends on how busy I am chatting with them, whether I'll set up my camera and film what I'm doing, so we'll see. It's the next day and I didn't get as much done as I thought I would on the craft afternoon, which honestly was fine, but I did manage to cut out all of the fabric for my first project, which will be a ruby vest. I've talked about it before, I've always wanted to make this pattern. I actually want to make multiple versions of it. And I'm starting with leftover fabric that I have, and honestly cutting out the fabric took way longer than expected, just because I was reusing an old coat that I had lying around. I had to take it out apart completely and then cut out the pattern pieces. So I have everything that I need here. So this was the inside of the coat. It's just this fluffy material. And the outside is going to be this kind of woven soft fabric. Inside to outside, I know you can reverse it. So I also cut a ton of bias binding from the outside fabric. It's very stretchy, I probably won't need as much as this, but I can use it for the ties as well. So I'm going to get started on this. I did time how long I spent already on this project. I think I was about 2 hours. So I'm just gonna hit start again and see where I get with this, and then I'll know how long it takes for me to make it for the first time, and it'll be quicker the second and the third. If I still want to make the pattern, I expect I will still. So yeah, let's get started. Honestly, if I wanted to make it easy on myself, I would have started with a project that didn't have this difficult fabric. As I mentioned, I took it from the lining of an old coat, and while I love it and it's so fluffy and soft, I completely underestimated how annoying it would be to sew with this. There was just fluff everywhere, even though I was constantly trying to clean it up. But in the end, it all worked out fine. It wasn't even that the sewing itself was difficult, it was just so fluffy. I had so much cleanup in the end. All in all, my experiences with this pattern were really positive. It was clearly written, very easy to follow. There were a few things that I hadn't thought of in advance that then were very clear in the pattern, like, for instance, to make it reversible, to fix the shoulder pieces by hand and stuff, like I'm doing here. All of it was really clear. By the time I got to doing the binding and the ties, I did realise that the fabric choice, the very elastic woven white fabric that I had lying around, was not the easiest to work with. I think, honestly, I would have done better choosing a different binding, but I don't mind how it looks in the end, so it works out fine. And it's kind of stash busting because I had that fabric lying around for so long already. I did have to finish up this ruby vest by sewing a bit by hand, just because the binding wasn't sewed down properly in every spot, and that's completely my own fault, honestly. I always find it hard to finish things like this by machine, so I just always go in and fix the places where I didn't sew it down properly by hand. Six hours and 6 minutes and I did finish my first ruby vest. I have a lot of thoughts already. I'm actually wearing it inside out, in the sense that I thought that I would have this as the inside and the other fabric as the outside, but I'm honestly preferring it like this just because I don't necessarily like how it looks unquilted the other way around. I was still considering quilting it, and then, yeah, I'm just not sure, just because then I think the inside fabric, the fluffiness will diminish. I don't want that at all. So I'm just keeping it like that. Honestly, it's a bit rough. I did do a bit of hand sewing at the end to fix the things that my machine didn't do properly, and I'm still seeing some issues here and there. I should have just done the binding by hand, because the fabric is so elastic and yeah, it's just a weave, so it's very normal to do so, to be so. But I just struggled with it a bit too much with my machine. I should have just done it by hand and it would have looked a lot better, because don't know if you can see on the camera, but it is not finished the way I would like to finish it. But honestly, I am happy with how it looks. The sizing is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be as big. So I'm considering making, if I do make another one, making it a bit smaller than this. We'll see. But yeah, I do like it. I think it will be a good layer for underneath the coats and such, or just wearing it like this at home. And it is really soft, so it's very comfortable to wear. So it took me 6 hours, but mostly just because I struggled with the fabric, I think, and with the cutting out of the fabric out of an old coat and such. So I think if I were to make one now, it would go a lot quicker, and I probably will do so. The only issue is that I don't have any batting to go in between my fabric, because I do want to quilt it. I don't know how I'm going to solve that yet, but we'll see. So 6 hours in, first project completely done, and many more to go. It is a few days later. I did not get any sewing done in the week anymore. It was way too busy in the evenings, and I vastly underestimated how much energy I would still have after a busy work day, and then seeing friends still as well. But it's the weekend now, and I did find some more fabric to make my next project in the 24-hour challenge. I think I got to about 6 hours last time making the vest. It's right here. And now I want to make a new set of Arthur pants, or Arthur trousers, whatever. I'm actually wearing one of my first ones with the zipper front, and that's the same version I'm going to make again, but I am thinking of making a few adjustments. I got this brown 100% cotton twill fabric, and as you can see, it's a lot stiffer than the flannel that I made my first pair in, and I have another one in linen. And I love both of those, but I really wanted like a sturdier pair of trousers still. So what I think I am going to do, because it's a lot sturdier and it's going to hold its shape a ton more than the other fabrics, is to actually maybe bring in the legs of the trousers just a bit, because they are very big and balloony, which I love the style in like a looser fabric, but I think with this it might be a bit too much. So I just want to experiment with like making them a bit thinner, not thin, still baggy, but just a bit less pronounced in general. So I am going to try and adjust the pattern to do that. I've been looking up a few adjustments online. A lot of people on Instagram have posted on what they have done. So I think I'm just going to take the advice of someone I found. I can't remember the name, but I'll try and pop it up here. She mentioned just taking in an inch from the side seams, which would make it a bit less balloony, because all in all, everywhere else I'm very happy with the pattern. But yeah, so I'm going to try that and then see how it goes, and I can always take out more if I want to in the end. And now that I think of it, another adjustment that I do want to make is I'm going to put the crotch a bit higher because it is just a bit low for me. And if I walk around in it all day, oh, that's a crying child outside. No, if I walk around with it all day, it does get a bit uncomfortable with the thigh chafing, and yeah. So I might try and remedy that. Not entirely sure how yet. I think I'll just try and draw it a bit higher on the pattern and see what that gives. I have not done many trousers adjustments in patterns, so it's all new, but I'm very excited to try. I do remember that I think I am missing a pattern piece, because I remember last time I made these I could not find a piece of the waistband, but I'll have to check the pattern and see if I'm actually missing it or not. And now that I think of it, I probably do have a button, but I don't think I have a zipper. Didn't think that part through. But we'll see where I get to. I can go get a zipper in the week and then I can finish it later. So let's get started on adjusting the pattern, and I'll quickly show you the pair that I have on right now. But yeah, these are my flannel pairs of Arthur trousers. I do actually really love the fit of these. They're very flowy. They have stood the test of time. I've worn these a ton. The only thing is I didn't do my flat felt seams as properly as I should have. And I am going to try and fix them because you can see them coming undone and fraying a bit at one point, but that's completely my own fault. I'm going to learn from my lessons and do it better next time. But yeah, as you can see, if the fabric would be a bit stiffer, it would come and stand out a lot more. So even if I just take in like an inch to start with and then see how I go, I think that could make a big difference. And yeah, I feel more comfortable taking less out at first and then taking more out later than taking too much out right now and then regretting my choice. So we'll see. Okay, that's honestly why I love this room. We've got lovely afternoon light in here. So I just managed to modify the pattern. I think it worked out. I took an inch off of the side seams and then I actually just moved the crotch up by taking off 2 inches off the top and adding 2 inches in the bottom, and I hope that's gonna work. And now I'm just gonna re-measure to see if it would still fit my waist, fit my hips, but it should, because I pinched the fabric to the right amount here on these pairs of trousers. Should be fine. So I'm just quickly gonna check the measurements and then I'm gonna cut out the fabric, which is very exciting and a bit nerve-wracking because honestly it was a bit expensive. So I hope all goes well. We'll see. I have to admit that when I got to the part of connecting all of the pieces of the trousers, I realised how much I actually really enjoy flat felling seams. Last time I had a bit of an issue with some of them because I didn't use the required amount of seam allowance and stuff, so that was completely my own fault. But this time I really measured everything very precisely, cut everything exactly how they asked me to, and it was just so much fun to do this and then to just have the details work out so well. By the time that I got to the pockets, I did have some issues with my sewing machine. It was something about the needle that I was using, but my upper thread kept breaking, and I've never had that before, but this is the first time that I've sewed for such a long time with such a heavy fabric. It was a 100% cotton twill, which honestly is such lovely fabric to work with. I definitely want to make more sturdier trousers in the future because it was just a lot of fun, and I think it's just gonna wear in a really good way. So while sewing for longer periods of time, I've switched from always watching YouTube videos to also just listening to podcasts or audiobooks. And in this case, I'm listening to Candela Obscura. I think the second story, I haven't gotten far at all, but that's just really lovely to have in the background. I really enjoy that kind of storytelling or RPG podcasts, and I definitely want to listen to the others as well. It has actually been an incredibly busy day. I went for a run this morning. We finished fixing up our cellar. I couldn't find the words there. And I still did a ton of other things around the house. So now it's already almost 6 o'clock and I'm only just starting on sewing again. And I just saw that my timer has been running the entire time. Great. Anyway, it accidentally cut off at 10 hours. I don't know why, and I think I'm now at kind of 11 hours or something. So I'm just gonna have to remember that, reset the timer and get going. The reason that I actually stopped sewing yesterday was because my machine was acting up with sewing the twill and especially like the multiple layers. So I'm actually just gonna see if it works now. Otherwise I'm gonna try a different needle. And if that doesn't work, I am probably going to adapt the ruby vest pattern to a fit that I want a bit more for my next one and cut that out. We'll see where it gets because I'm probably only going to work until my husband finishes making dinner. So we'll see. I'm hoping that this is the second to last day that I'll be filming this video. I am now at I think I have like 10 hours left in total. And I have done everything that I could with my Arthur pants pattern without having the zipper. I still need to go pick that up. So I figured now that I have the time, I will continue with a different project, get the zipper later and finish that off. I think in total, the Arthur pants have taken me probably around 6 hours already, which is pretty good. I think I did take a lot of time making sure the details were done properly and flat filling the seams really carefully. But yeah, the last hour I have spent tracing out another ruby vest pattern, but in a size smaller, because for this vest I do want to make it a bit smaller than the one before. I have a size 10 now. I'm actually not sure if this is going to be small enough. I was considering going down to a size 8, but I keep thinking I might as well do the size bigger. I can always go smaller if I want to. So, time for my second ruby vest. I am hoping, I'm definitely going to make it from this black cottony fabric as the outer layer, and the inner layer I would like to use this old shirt that I have. It was my husband's. We both wore it at one point, but it just doesn't fit how I want it to and how he wants it to. So I figured I would try to use this fabric up. And if that doesn't work, because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use it up all of it, I might actually just patch it together if I don't have the complete pattern pieces, because I honestly do like this more. For the inside, I do have a different fabric that I used for my first Arthur trousers. We'll see. I think I'm going to try and optimize this. Actually might be fun to actually have the front pocket inside. I'll try and fix something like that. So yeah, let's get started. I've gotten really creative with finding batting for different vests and projects and such. It's not that I don't want to buy batting in store, it's just that I've never really found exactly the composition that I would like, and I really do want to try and make my own batting as well from wool leftovers that I have. So it just feels really silly to now buy something that I might not use completely instead of using what I have. And what I had was a really old blanket that I had gotten from a dear friend of mine, but that just got ruined in the washing. So there were multiple places where the fabric had just really given out, and I really didn't want to throw it away, but this way I can still use it as something that I can wear, which is really lovely. And yeah, I have a few other things like that lying around, like an old mattress protector that wasn't the right size and stuff like that I can use instead, which I love. I love reusing materials that I already have. As I did mention before, I decided to finish this ruby vest by hand. So I did sew the binding in place at first and then finished off all of the edging just by hand sewing it for a neater finish. It's a few days later. I have been sewing for almost 2 weeks now, which is fine, I did expect that. I got everything in town today to finish my Arthur trousers. I got a zipper, which is way too long, but for some reason they didn't have a shorter zipper. So I'm going to shorten this one. I hope I can. I was just looking at that. Yeah, I'll figure out how anyway. I have my elastic, so I technically have everything to finish these pairs of trousers. And I know I'm going to do the most difficult part now because the zipper is, in my opinion, the most difficult part. I did already do everything else that I could do. So I already prepped the waistband, I finished it all the edges, and I even already put together the front pieces. So yeah, I already flat felled those pieces just so it would go easily afterwards. So I'm just gonna get started and see where I get. I don't have a ton of time. I have about 6 hours left on my timer. I really want to finish these trousers and at least my other vest. I'm wearing this one because it's actually freezing right now, so it's perfect to have it in my sewing room. But yeah, I really want to finish my Arthur trousers at least, and the vest that I made, the ruby vest, the second one. And I would honestly still love to do some smaller things still, like take in some jeans, some corduroy trousers that I have, just like small extra projects, but we'll see what I get done in that amount of time. So yeah, I have 5 hours, 53 minutes left. We'll see how it goes and how long this still takes me. I remember from doing the zipper in my previous pairs of trousers that this definitely was the hardest part of making them. So I really tried to concentrate and work. I wasn't even listening to music or an audiobook or a podcast at all. I just read the instructions 3-4 times, measured everything a lot of times, and then really carefully sewed these bits together, just taking it step by step. One thing that I did really realise during this challenge is how grateful I am for the space that I have to sew, to do all of these projects. We finished renovating this room somewhere in April, May, I think. And it took a really long time for us to get to doing so. We've been living here for almost 3 years now, and it was just the room where we put all the junk in. It had asbestos in the walls. We had to get that professionally removed. Then we had to replaster everything. We redid the entire floor by taking out the laminate that was there, the subfloor that was there, removing every single thing under the floorboards, and then even fixing up some beams. And yeah, it was just a whole process. I really did enjoy it, and I did film a lot of it too because I wanted to keep it for memory. But yeah, I could do a room makeover at some point, but the room isn't completely finished yet. So I do have my working space here, but I also still have old night tables and a ladder and just random things lying around, which is just the reality of living in a renovation. But yeah, I might film a studio makeover, but we'll see when that happens. Zipper. I think it's not my most detailed work, but it definitely looks fine. I think it's just the detail stitching that I might do again by hand. They are fine. I don't think anyone else will ever notice that it's just a tiny bit crooked. All the rest is pretty well done, I think. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Now I think I'm just going to do the box pleats and see where I get still. But yeah, the zipper took me just about an hour to do completely, so not too bad. I just finished my Arthur trousers and I'll show you them immediately. There are some things that I do want to change about them, but I'll mention that when I sit down because this angle of filming is really awkward. But yeah, try to back up as much as possible. These are my now third pair of Arthur trousers and I really like them. They're exactly what I wanted. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my adjustments as well. So yeah, they're so comfy. I am very, very content with. Okay, so after finishing the Arthur trousers, I only have an hour and a half left of my 24 hours. I don't know how accurate the timer is, to be honest. There will definitely be moments where I forgot I was running, and then when I forgot to press play again, but that's pretty normal, I think. I'm not going to be too strict about it. But yeah, an hour and a half left. What I definitely still want to get done is take in my pairs of trousers that I still have here, those 2 pairs. It should be really easy to do. I still have my proper needle in the sewing machine, so I'm going to do that first. After that, I do want to do something else still. I already have the fabric cut here. I actually have a handbag. This one, which I bought in a second-hand store. I think for not a lot of money. It's real leather, but the lining is really old and I would rather replace it, but I can't replace it because it's stitched into the leather in a way that I can't remove it, so I want to create a new lining to go on top of it. And I do have this greeny satiny fabric that I still have left over, so I thought I would make a lining out of that. I have all my pieces here. All I have to do is sew it together to kind of be a square or a box, and then I will have to hand sew it into place into the handbag. So I don't think I'll be able to get the hand sewing done, but I'm hoping I can still finish up sewing these parts together and see if they can fit, and then I can finish it later and show you the result later. I took in the trousers how I take in all of my trousers around the waist. I just measure how much extra I have and then take that in at the waistband, just at the height of the pockets, and then measure down how far I want it to come and then sew that down. It isn't always the best method just because it gets a bit chunky in the back, but you can remove that. In other instances, I would completely remove the waistband, take out the extra fabric and then re-sew the waistband, but that's just so much effort. And especially if you might want to take out the adjustments again, this one's easier. There we go. It's not the most tidy, but honestly, it's going to be fine. There's always a t-shirt hanging over my the back of my trousers anyway. I'm still considering taking these little bits out, but I'm first gonna try them on and see if I find it annoying, because it does leave the possibility to take them back out if necessary. Yeah, but very happy I got that done. That took maybe, see, 20 minutes. So 20 minutes, yep. So we still have an hour and almost 15 minutes left. To make the handbag lining, all I really did was measure the inside of the handbag and then make a box shape out of that with seam allowances. So I just sewed that together here. It's pretty simple, but I just want something to fit in there to make it a bit more pretty and usable in the long run. So I have about half an hour left on the clock, which is absolutely crazy. And right now I don't feel like I did a lot just because I've been rushing to finish up some things. But I did manage to sew the lining in most of the handbag. I'm gonna hand sew that in now on the couch. Spend the last 30 minutes doing that. and I probably won't finish it in that time. I also still have to finish my second ruby vest because I decided to hand sew the binding down as well. I'm almost done with that, but I still have to do the sleeves. So yeah, I'm just gonna spend the evening cozying on the couch sewing the last bits by hand, and I probably then will be over time with my 24 hours, even if it was accurate or not accurate how I timed it. But honestly, I don't mind. I know just about what I got done in those 24 hours, and that was kind of my goal, see where I could get. So what did I end up doing? I made 2 ruby vests, one with modifications, the second one without, just a size smaller. I made a complete pair of Arthur trousers, which I'm so proud of, which took the bulk of my time, about 12 hours. I managed to take in 2 pairs of trousers that I still had lying around that were too big on the waist, which I'm really happy with as well. Even though that only took like half an hour, it's always just such an obstacle in my mind to get to doing stuff like that, so I'm very happy with that. And then I sewed the lining for this handbag, which I've also been postponing for so long. So I think my main takeaway here is you can get a lot done in 24 hours, even if it's spread out across 2 or 3 weeks like I did. And it's been a good motivator to just get some projects done. I do think that doing the 24-hour challenge did put some pressure on me to finish things quickly, which isn't the way that I really want to finish sewing projects anymore. So I'm really forcing myself to take a step back and decide to do these things by hand. Of course the handbag I have to do by hand, but the ruby vest finished binding by hand, just because I know I'll like the finishing more, and that's the main goal, to make like garments or objects that I actually am going to use and wear. So yeah, I've actually learned a lot from doing this, and I think I will do other challenges like this in the future. Maybe I'll make slightly less complicated patterns. Not that the ruby vest was complicated, but the Arthur trousers just have so many components to it. So yeah, but all in all, very happy with the result. And yeah, still gonna sew a bit on the sofa to finish off this video in a very calm and casual way.